Hello, you beautiful souls. Welcome to another week of Awaken and Align. Thank you all so much for listening and tuning in. I appreciate you so much. I just wanted to remind you again that I've opened up a Patreon for this community. The first tier is the Magician tier, and you get access to the full moon circle, which happens once a month. The next tier is the High Priestess tier, and you get to join our full moon and our new moon circles, so 2 circles per month. And then last but not least, our Empress tier, which you get access to the new moon, the full moon, and 2 extra circles per month. And in the 2 extra circles per month, I lead anything from meditations to journeys, and we usually have a special guest once a month to come and share their wisdom and their knowledge. This month in June, on June 17th, we have Xenia, my dear friend from Myths of Creation, sharing her knowledge about human design. So if you are interested in furthering your exploration with astrology, tarot, divination, all things magic and witchy shit, and just expanding your awareness and consciousness, you can join us now with different tiers and different levels of commitment and monetary exchanges. Well, for those of you who are joining on the podcast, I just wanted to mention that it's super dark here. It's very auspicious and ominous in New York. It's thundering and it's really dark. And I am playing some background relaxation meditation music in the background just to get all of our energy in the centered and grounded place, because in 2 days' time, as I record this, it's going to be the solar eclipse in Gemini. And at this moment, we have a bunch of planets in retrograde, and I'm probably going to stumble my words because of Mercury retrograde, as I do every Mercury retrograde. As you know, when I am doing this podcast in a Mercury retrograde, I tend to go off on tangents and stumble upon my words, but I took a lot of time to ground my energy. I'm going to try to speak really slowly, and I have notes so that I don't get off track, because my intention is to do a short episode to help guide you for this upcoming solar eclipse portal. I say that all the time, and then the episode ends up being over an hour long. But I really want to get this message across. I've been thinking about this eclipse now for a month. I've been preparing and really tuning into the energies of the planets, especially the sun and the moon and Mercury, as they are big players in this upcoming portal. First, I want to get into the numerology, because I really believe that numerology and the degrees of what's happening in the sky really does signify what we're being invited into. So this is a new moon eclipse. Every solar eclipse is a new moon. And it's at 19 degrees of Gemini. And 19, I've been seeing that number for 2 weeks now since the eclipse in Sagittarius. And I had to look up what it meant, even though in my energetic body, I really felt that I knew what it meant. But let's break down 19. So 19 has the number 1, which is all about initiation, being a leader, starting something new, a new beginning. And the number 9 is all about completing a cycle. So the last podcast episode I did by myself was around the eclipse in Sagittarius. And I heavily stressed that this month in June and this eclipse was going to bring about a huge change if you choose to accept the invitation. And it's a death of something, a death of something in your life up to this point and a new beginning. And 1 plus 9, it adds up to the number 10, which is in numerology, 10 is the fulfillment, a culmination of energy, but also it breaks down to a 1, which is a new beginning. And I really believe that this is such a significant number because it's marking the end of whatever you were letting go of during the lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, wherever that was landing on your chart, whatever area of life that it was focusing on, that was making you reflect and release, to now this new beginning in the area of your chart that is Gemini. And for the first time, I'm so excited. I'm going to do about like a 1 minute for each rising sign. And I'm so excited because I've always wanted to do this. And I'm going to try to keep it to about 1 minute, just a very small tidbit, just so I can get to each of the 12 rising signs so that you have an idea of how this is going to affect the area of your life that Gemini is in. I also wanted to mention that in numerology, again, I did a numerology episode with Remington Donovan about the 5 universal year, which is 2021. If you add up 2 plus 2 plus 1 equals 5. And 5 is a very revolutionary year. It's the number of change. And June is the universal number of 11. And how I got that number was June is the 6th month plus 5 the year, which breaks down to an 11. And 11, if you know in numerology, is a master number. It's a pretty big deal. And I've been also seeing a lot of 11, 111, 1111. And to me, when I see the number 11, it to me is a portal. If you look at 1 and 1, it looks like a doorway of some kind. 1, again, is the energy of initiating something, of a new beginning, of stepping into something new. And when there's repeating numbers in numerology, it just stresses the importance of stepping into something. 11 can be a little, I guess it can put you off in a little bit of, because 1 is a masculine number, right? And 11 is just really focusing on the activeness of the 1, of doing something new, of starting something new, of stepping into something that is so different from how you've been moving throughout your life. And for those of you fixed signs out there, and for those of you who don't like change, this can be a pretty off-putting month, if not year, if not 2 years. But I would ask you to just take this invitation to observe and see what parts of your life are just stagnant, or what parts of your experience do you just not want to experience anymore. And I think collectively we all want change, but what that change entails is going to have you're going to be invited to change your perceptions, your thinking, your belief systems, the way you move around this world in a different way. So it's a powerful month. It's really asking us at this juncture of our evolution to choose, because Gemini is also about choice. Choose differently. And Gemini is the sign of curiosity, of doing something different, of thinking something different, of looking at things in a different way. And I think this is a beautiful time for us to just try new things. So just from a personal example, this past weekend, I just really had the intention of doing things that I truly wanted to do from an abundance mindset, and also surround myself with different kinds of people. And if you heard my last solo episode, the one where I talked about where all these retrogrades are happening in my personal life, I actually took action this weekend before this solar eclipse and before this whole quote unquote new beginning in my life, to really integrate all of the things that I've learned and all of the revelations I've been having, to really put it into my actual lived experience. So on Friday, I met up with a friend that I had just known on Zoom, and we had met for the first time in person. And then on Saturday, I went to the city, I went to the Met, and I just spent a luxurious amount of time in there, just exploring the Egyptian wing and exploring the things that I'd always seen growing up, but just in a different lens. I used to go to the Met ever since I was a little girl. My dad used to drop my sister and I off while he used to be a New York City taxi cab driver. And my mom and my dad shared equal responsibility, obviously, as parents, to watch us. But we were very much latchkey kids. Which I'm so grateful that I had that experience, because my sister and I are super independent, because my dad literally used to drop us off at the Met for hours at a time while he worked, and we would just explore. And the Met is a place, it's a museum in New York City that you can literally spend all day in and get lost. And my favorite part of the Met is the Egyptian wing. And now I know why I was so drawn to it, is because I believe that I had a past life or many past lives there. And when I was wandering around and I was looking at all the hieroglyphs and all the imagery and all of the things that were in that wing that I had always looked at, but from this lens of understanding Egyptian mythology and Egyptian high priestesses and how they used to live and all the symbols, I saw everything with brand new eyes. I was like, oh my God, the Temple of Dendor was a temple for Isis. Oh my gosh, look at all of this like mythology that I've been learning, even in astrology and even through learning about the tarot, the chariot, the high priestess, the empress, like all of these things that I've learned in the last year or two. I've been looking at all of the, even when I went to the Greek wing and I looked at the statues of the Greek gods and I saw Hermes, I was like, oh my God, everything just looked new to me. And I decided to rent a city bike, and it was so hot outside, by the way, I was sweating. But I rented a city bike and I biked from the Met all the way down to Pier 46, where I used to live in the West Village. And if, for those of you who are not familiar with New York City, that's really far. That's biking like 7 miles. um, but it was so fun because I got to like bike through all of my old places, the places that I used to spend so much time. I passed by my old Columbus Circle apartment, and I used to live near Central Park, so I'd bike through there. And then I passed through the West Side Highway and all of the new structures that have been built in the last year. And I passed by my old West Village apartment and the bodega I used to go to and all the coffee shops I used to go to. And Pier 46, well, Pier 45 holds a special place in my heart, because when I used to work at my old job, at my corporate job, I used to run along the West Side Highway, and I used to stop on this pier, and then had it like a little grassy knoll on the water on the Hudson River. And from that vantage point, you can see the sun setting over beautiful New Jersey. And I just used to pray every sunset that one day I would quit my job and I would travel the world and I would get to experience life to the fullest. I would somehow figure out how to be my own boss and make money and just help people realize their dreams. And 5 years later, here I am, and I met up with another Zoom friend that I had never met in person before. She's a part of our circles, and my friend Sam, who I've known, we've hung out together in Tulum. And it was just like a very number 19 in numerology moment where I was starting something new. I was meeting new people, but I was also closing out a chapter of my past and seeing all the gifts and lessons that all of my experiences have taught me, and all the struggles and obstacles and unknowns that have brought me to this point. And then on Sunday, my sister and I went to meet up with a new friend. I literally have never met her in person. I met her last week. And it was just, again, like an opening to tell the universe and myself, my conscious and subconscious mind, that I am so ready for whatever change, whatever portal I'm stepping into. So for those of you who are listening, this will apply to you in a different way. I'm not suggesting that you go out and meet people who you've never met before or do any of the things I just mentioned. I'm just giving you my personal example of how I am stepping into this new portal for myself, and the area of my life that this is impacting really does have to do with people and community. So you'll have a better idea when I talk about your rising sign and what area of your life this is impacting. But I just wanted to lay the foundation down first. So I just wanted to talk about the astronomy of a solar eclipse. First of all, the new moon in astronomy happens when the sun and the moon are conjunct. Conjunct just means together. And it just so happens, and I think I read this somewhere, that we are the only planet that has a moon that is the perfect size and distance to where it can completely block out the sun. Like, how cool is that, right? That's why I think Earth is so special. But the sun and moon happen when the moon blocks the sun. And that's why they call it a dark moon, because we cannot see the illumination of the moon. Whereas in the full moon, both luminaries, the sun and the moon, are opposite each other, so we could see the fullness of the moon. Now, a new moon signifies a new beginning, it's planting of a seed. It's not necessarily that we manifest or that we see the full plan or that we see the full extent of how we're going to go about what we want to achieve or call in. That's what happens in this waxing phase to the full moon. But this is really planting a seed of intention, making the first step either consciously or subconsciously. And as the thunder rolled in, just as I said that, in the darkness of the night, and you're fully planting that, trusting that the soil is fertile, and that over the course of the waxing phase, you water it, you pay attention to it, you focus your energy on it, and that's how the seeds grow. And when we talk about this portal, which is this eclipse portal, this energy can last for 6 months. In the lunar eclipse, because the moon changes its phase every 2 days, the lunar eclipse really is a shorter portal. It's a portal for you to release, and the south node eclipse is really offering you a chance, maybe a fated chance, for you to release something. And if you want to learn more about that eclipse, you can listen to my other episode about that. We've had about 4 eclipses in Sagittarius, and we're having 2 eclipses in Gemini, which really to me is an invitation just to release. Like, we've just been asked to release, release, release. And now with this new moon in Gemini, we're getting this chance to see things in a different way. really have a different way of thinking and having a different perception of our experience and our reality. Okay, so that is what in astronomy a solar eclipse means. And when there is an eclipse, it's a huge portal. It's fated. So maybe since 2 weeks before the lunar eclipse, you saw things starting to fall away. Even within this last waning phase, after the eclipse in Sagittarius, things were falling away, things were disintegrating, things were just kind of like falling apart, maybe. And right now, the moon is in Taurus. Actually, right now, as I'm recording this on June 8th, the moon just moved into Gemini. So in the last 2 days, the moon was in Taurus, which is the moon likes being in Taurus. So maybe you felt a little bit more stable emotionally. But now we're in Gemini with the moon in Gemini, the sun in Gemini, Mercury in Gemini, the North Node in Gemini. This is a huge invitation for us to see things in a different way, release our dogmatic beliefs. And the shadow side of Sagittarius is believing so deeply in your own belief systems, because we all have a truth, we all have a belief. But the one truth and the one belief that unites us all is that we are all a part of this life force energy that is God, creator, goddess, God, the universe, and that we are all here as one to bring more love and peace onto this planet. And I know what that sounds like. Trust me, I know. But I want to reclaim this language back from the New Age conspirituality community. If you follow me on TikTok, you know how I feel about this. I want to reclaim these words because the words love and light and unity consciousness have been distorted to have a meaning of bypassing and of not seeing people's real lived experiences is so harmful and dangerous. So I want to reclaim these words as really coming together, acknowledging all of our lived experiences, healing our illusion so that we can truly come from a place of true unity, consciousness, and love. And we're never going to do that if we're all coming from our own biases. We're all coming from our dogmatic beliefs, which is why I believe there's been 4 eclipses in Sagittarius, forcing us to drop what we've believed in, how we've been raised, the society that we've been raised in, the cultural programming, the gender programming, all of that, for us to have this opportunity, this new beginning in Gemini, seeing things in a different way. And I really go back to empathy, right? Because when we have empathy for other people's experiences, we can be inclusive. We can have more heart space to allow everyone's lived experiences to be real and to include everybody in this experience that we're moving towards together. So Mercury, the planet of communication, it's in Greek mythology, it is Hermes, the messenger of the gods. And if you want to learn more about Mercury's energy and the archetype of energy, please look at YouTube videos of Hermes. I've learned so much, and how crucial Mercury is actually in our natal chart, because how we communicate and how we speak and how we write and how we show up in the world is everything. That's how we move through this world. And Mercury is in its home sign of Gemini, in its domicile of Gemini. So it's very happy in Gemini. So Mercury has a lot of power in Gemini. Mercury is also the planet of commerce, and it's in retrograde, which normally I think with this new moon in Gemini with Mercury in retrograde, I would say Mercury might not have as much power, but since Mercury's in its domicile of Gemini, I really believe this is very fated. And at the time of this eclipse, Mercury will do something called a Mercury cazimi. The planet of Mercury will go within the rays of the sun and be purified by the sun's light. And I really believe this signifies some kind of message that you will get, some aha. It could be something that was trying to get your attention from the past, since Mercury is in retrograde, or you've been seeing the signs and synchronicities about. But at this eclipse, you can no longer deny it. You're going to be shown something. And I don't like to see things as good or bad. I feel that everything that is shown to us or that we experience is for our highest good, no matter how difficult. I know that's really easier said than done. Trust me, I'm going through a very gnarly, very gnarly Saturn and Pluto transit right now, which is like pressing upon my psyche, my mind. But I truly believe that whatever messages are going to come through this Mercury cazimi and this new moon eclipse in Gemini, it's going to bring a lot of clarity, because Neptune and Jupiter have been in Pisces, and things have not been very clear. Things have been very foggy. Not a lot of information has been shown to you. A lot of times when we go through change and we're like, okay, I'm ready to let go of the past and I'm ready to go to the future. But you're like, what do I do now? There's no information. Well, I really believe that this new moon eclipse with the Mercury cazimi near the North Node is going to give you that clarity. So just please pay attention. And also, eclipse times are really meant for you not really to quote unquote do anything, but to observe and to harness that energy and to use that energy to your benefit. So in the last circle with my astrology teacher, Nick Lasky, I asked him, you know, I hear some astrologers say don't manifest on these eclipses. I hear other astrologers say you should because the energy's super potent. I say use your discernment. I think this is an auspicious new moon eclipse with the Mercury cazimi. I think that it's a powerful time to set in your mind, your heart, and your beliefs and your emotion, like complete alignment, basically, of what you are intending from this moment forward. So if that means journaling, if that means meditating, if that means being in circle with other people and sharing your feelings, I really believe this is super powerful. So take that as you will. I also find that the last eclipses, especially the ones last year, a lot of the planets that it was aspecting were not in their favorite signs. And a lot of the planets last year were all about contraction, were all about releasing, were all about disintegrating what you knew to be your reality. But in this new moon solar eclipse, again, that's happening June 10th at 6:53 a.m. Eastern time. So adjust for your time zone. A lot of these planets are in their favorite signs, in their domiciles. And domiciles just mean their home signs. So Saturn is in retrograde in Aquarius. In ancient astrology, that is the ruler of Aquarius. Okay, Pluto is retrograde in Capricorn. But then we got Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces, again, home signs. And then we got Mercury in Gemini, right? So a lot of these planets have their resources. So I feel like with Jupiter in Pisces, Saturn in Aquarius in retrograde, even though it's retrograde, and Neptune in Pisces, I really feel like this is a beautiful time to also tap into your dreams, tap into your intuition. And again, Mercury being in Gemini, retrograde by the nodes of the moon with this eclipse, I really feel like you might be getting psychic downloads, messages from the goddesses, the universe. Pay attention. Pay attention to your dreams. Pay attention to the signs and synchronicities. I have been, maybe it's because I've been slowing down the most out of any time in my life. I have been keeping a journal of all the signs and synchronicities that I've been noticing the last 2 weeks since the eclipse in Sagittarius, which, by the way, has rocked my world. I'm laughing so that I don't cry. But that's when I know that I am in alignment with whatever frequency I'm trying to get on. That is Spirit's way of saying you're on the right track. And again, I've been seeing 19 everywhere. I've been seeing 111. I've been seeing 333s, which is the creation number. And I've just been hearing song lyrics that, normally I wouldn't really pay attention to, but there's like a message in that song. And just like, just amazing synchronicities. So please pay attention, because these intuitive hits, these messages that you're getting are the moments of clarity to help you decide where to go and what to do next. Because it is fated. All of this time right here, as I said in so many episodes before this, that this eclipse portal is fated. Opportunities, situations, people are brought into your life for you to step up, for you to be more in alignment with your true nature. I'm just checking my notes to see if I did not forget anything. Okay, I think I got everything. I think we can go through each of the rising signs now. So just a disclaimer, I am using the tropical whole sign system, and your rising sign is the most accurate in terms of transits, because you can track in what area of your life these energies are happening in. If you don't know your rising sign, you can listen for your sun sign, but it might not relate quite to the area of your life that you're feeling. With anything, please listen to your intuition, listen to your inner being, inner knowing. And also, this is general, because whatever planets or aspects you have in your own natal chart, in your own personal chart, and anything else that's going on will impact this even more. So you want to look at your natal chart and see if you have 19 degrees of anything in Gemini or even Sagittarius, give or take like 3 degrees on either side, because you will definitely be impacted. Or if you notice any aspects, trines, sextiles, squares, am I missing anything? Any aspects or oppositions to 19 degrees of Gemini with a 3-degree orb, and that will give you a better idea of how this is affecting you. But again, this is general, so you can always find out your rising sign on a free website like astro.com or astroseek.com. And if you don't know your birth time, you can use 12 p.m. noon and just see, like, play around with the times and see like what resonates with you. So we're going to start with Aries rising. Hello, Aries rising. So Gemini is in your 3rd house, which Gemini rules the 3rd house, and the themes of the 3rd house, which is all about your mind and community. So maybe you'll get some information from this Mercury cazimi, this retrograde, of, oh my gosh, something in your community might be affecting your mind, or vice versa. And it's really forcing you to look at your mind and how you think about things, your perceptions, your situation, and something is being revealed to you based on how you communicate as well, because the third house is all about communication. Taurus rising. Gemini is your second house, and the second house rules money, value, self-worth, resources. So maybe this Mercury retrograde is making you reflect on your resources, money, how you can build up your self-worth, your value system, and maybe you're getting like a message, a download of how you can build up your self-worth, your resources, or do things in a different way with your money. Maybe you're getting information of somebody helping you with this area of your life. But the second house is usually about yourself, of how you see yourself and your value. Gemini rising. Wow, so this is happening in your first house of self and your body. You've probably had a lot of epiphanies since last year with the other eclipses in your house, and also in your opposite sign of Sagittarius in your house of relationships. But this is really focusing on yourself. Maybe you have another aha moment about how you perceive yourself and how you perceive your self-concept and your ego. Maybe your ego has been a little, not suppressed, but changed in a way. You've been shown something about your perception of the world and of yourself. And usually the first house eclipses affect our vitality and our energy. But I really think this is amazing for you because you are ruled by Mercury. So I really feel like this is an auspicious time to build up your self-confidence, build up your concept of yourself and of your body. Cancer rising, 12th house, the hidden realms. I love this for you. And I'm probably the only person that thinks of the 12th house like this, but I always feel that when we are shown something that has been hidden, it's an opportunity for us to work with that energy, because we can never be better. We can never grow. We can never have more awareness or be the best version of ourselves if we are working from our unconscious mind, of our subconscious. So something hidden from you, the 12th house is hidden realms, that you have full awareness of now, that you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. And this could be in any area of your life, but it's oftentimes in your subconscious. Leo rising. So this is happening in your 12th house of groups, people, and friends. This is so wonderful. I love the 11th house. So Mercury is all about curiosity. It's about being the social butterfly, but maybe in retrograde, it's like friends from your past have been coming back. But I really feel like this is a new beginning. Like, have you been curious about having new friends, being in different communities, different groups of people, and maybe that you're seeking new communities, new groups of people because you've had an epiphany about, I don't know, a different area of your life that you want to explore. It's super exciting. Okay, Virgo rising. This is happening in your 10th house of career. Mercury also is your ruler. So maybe you had an epiphany of a job opportunity or a change in career or something different you wanted to do with your career. Definitely new beginning in your career. So exciting. Yay, so exciting. Libra rising. This is happening in your 9th house of your beliefs, higher education, spirituality. So maybe you're having a curiosity of spirituality, of different spiritual practices. Maybe you want to just learn something new, learn something. And when I say higher education, I don't necessarily mean like a master's or a PhD, but something that is not like elementary, something that is a little bit more advanced. So maybe if you have a curiosity in astrology or maybe Buddhism, that maybe this is the time that you're like, oh, maybe I should take an astrology class, or maybe I should learn with a Buddhist monk or something like that. It's also expanding your cross-cultural awareness. Like maybe, Mercury retrograde also deals with short distance travel, but the ninth house is long distance travel. So maybe you're having the travel bug. Maybe you want to experience things through travel, experiencing, meeting different kinds of people, foreigners. Okay, Scorpio rising. This is happening in your eighth house. And the eighth house is kind of, it's like, for me, I know the eighth house because my North Node is in the eighth house. So it's really hard for me to describe in words, but it's really the most auspicious area of our life. It's death, rebirth, transformation. It's intimacy, it's money, sex, death, and Mercury in retrograde and this solar eclipse happening in this house is maybe you're having an epiphany to be more intimate with your partner, or just more intimacy with yourself. Maybe you're interested in exploring sexuality or shamanism. This is also the house of the shaman. It's also other people's money, other people's resources. So maybe you found out that you have an inheritance, or that you found another stream of income. That's exciting. Okay, Sag rising. I'm a Sag rising, so I've been working with this energy for a year now. This is happening in our seventh house of relationships, one-on-one partnerships. So Mercury being in retrograde in Gemini really signifies like old flames, old relationships coming back. They could be karmic, business partnerships. It's really like the one-on-one. And Gemini is in Greek mythology, it was Castor and Pollux, the twins. And also in the tarot, they're the lovers card. So it's really about it's like a new beginning in relationships and how you relate to the other. So if you're single, this is a great opportunity possibly that you will meet somebody new. If you are in a relationship, if you're not exactly aligned with the person that you're in a relationship with, this might be the time that you realize that it's not going to go any further. Or if you are in a relationship and you feel like there's a renewal in your relationship, like I want to recommit to this person. Capricorn rising. This is happening in your sixth house of work, health, and for me, the sixth house is all about your day-to-day habits. And with Mercury being in retrograde in the North Node in Gemini, I really think that you're trying to do things in a different way. You're trying to do work in a different way, your health in a different way, and maybe you're getting information through. It's also the house of coworkers, of pets, things that will help you, things that will support you in a way that can help you with your work and your health. In ancient astrology, they saw the sixth house and any major transits happening in this house as more difficult. I say that in air quotes, but again, I don't see. Sure, there are challenges in life, and I don't want to bypass that, but I really believe that when we are challenged in that way, that it is even more of a growth, even more of a benefit to us when we can move through that transit, when we can move through that time. At least that's what I'm trying to tell myself, again, with my difficult transits that I'm experiencing right now. But you got this, Capricorn risings. Okay, Aquarius risings. This is happening in your fifth house of creativity, children, joy, fun. Aquarius risings, are you expecting either children or a creative project maybe that you're forming? I really believe this is a new beginning into a creative project. you're getting an aha download of a creative thing that you want to do that maybe before you were like, but now you're like, yes. And maybe just a renewed vitality of having fun and having joy in your life. Yay, this is my favorite house. My son is in my 5th house. And I often found that people with huge 5th house placements are people who just enjoy life and they don't apologize for it. They don't say that it's, we have to work hard, play hard kind of thing. Yes, there's some energies like that, but 5th house is all about tapping into your inner child and really having a renewed sense of looking at the world with childlike wonder. Pisces rising, this is happening in your 4th house of home, ancestors, and your roots. Maybe you're getting some kind of message or download from your ancestors. Are you doing ancestral healing? Pisces in general, Pisces moon, Pisces risings, you're just psychic. You're already intuitive. But maybe you're starting to get downloads from your ancestors and they're guiding you along the way. Or maybe some news or some aha like thing comes up about your family that, might be shocking, but can be so illuminating about your own experiences. I mean, I certainly in this last year living with my parents have had so much come up about my family and my ancestry that if I had known this back when I was, growing up, it would have just made so much more sense about how I am. But, we all learn things in divine timing. But this could also mean that you're maybe starting something new in your home, that you're renewing your home, cleaning out your space, something new in the home. And the 4th house could also be about your body. So maybe your emotional body, because the 4th house is traditionally like the Cancer house, the mother house, the nurturing house. So maybe you just feel like very in touch with yourself, your emotional body. And yeah, when I saw that this was in your 4th house, I was like, oh, they're getting some downloads. They're getting some downloads from spirit. Okay, so those were all the 12 rising signs. I know I went through them really quickly, but I just wanted to give you a drop of what area of your life this is happening in. And again, take it with a grain of salt because it all depends on what planets and what aspects are happening in your natal chart, but you'll get a general idea of what area of your life this is happening in. And I just wanted to end this with the wisdom of the Oracle deck to get everybody a nice message. I did this in my last podcast / YouTube, and I really liked it. And I like ending on these notes. So Spirit, can you please tap me into the collective of Awaken and Align? What do they need to know for their highest timeline for this new moon eclipse in Gemini? What do they need to know so that they can be on their highest timeline for this new moon in Gemini? Okay. Oh. Clean it up, number 21. So for those of you who are listening on the podcast, this picture it looks like a moose or a stag holding a broom through its mouth, and the number's 21, which reduces to a 3, and it says clean it up. And I'm just going to read the oracle message here. I feel like I was saying this in the beginning about like really letting go, the number 19, like really letting go of what no longer serves you, like that number 9, so that you can truly begin anew. And again, with the solar eclipse portals, they last for 6 months. So it's not like it happens on June 10th and then that's it. You work with this energy for the 6 months until the full moon in Gemini, which I believe happens in December. I'm going to have to double check on that. But it's usually when the sun is in Sagittarius. It could be November. Okay, so number 21, clean it up. Essential message meanings. Getting to the core of a situation, freedom from a burden, cleaning house, sweeping away what is no longer needed. Oracle's message. Ever feel so bogged down with emotional gunk that you can't think straight? Could you be surrounded by physical clutter in your home? Also, too much work, overwhelmed? Time to clean house. Every item out of place natters away at you. I've never heard that word natter. Every unresolved resentment, every comparison to others that leads to a sense of lack takes up energetic space. Every unpaid bill just adds up to an unnecessarily feeling of being overwhelmed. Now is the time to free yourself by energetically cleaning house. Just do it. Make room for the miracles that are lining up for you. Wow, I love that message. Damn. Clean it up. I mean, that's really what you're supposed to be doing, right before a new moon, which is right now. Actually, when this comes out, it'll be June 9th. So if you listen to this on the Wednesday when it comes out, you have full day on June 9th before the eclipse on June 10th to really sweep away energetically, physically, set the intention that you want to release something, ask your spirit guides, angels and archangels and ancestors to help you. That's what co-creation is you give up what you can't let go of, or what you need a higher power to help you with, so that you can create space for what is meant to come. Sometimes things don't come in, not because the universe is punishing you, but because you haven't created space for it. And we are so divinely protected that spirit, divine, the universe, God will never give you something that you're not ready for. And I was sharing this with my friends, my witchy friends that I met up with, and we were all, and I love my friend Sam. She always asks, what are you manifesting right now? And it just gets us to a place of dreaming. And I just shared my download recently of divine timing. And, if you listen to tarot readings or any spiritual person, they always talk about divine timing, which could be so frustrating because you're like, what the fuck? Divine timing takes so long. And I might have said this in my last episode, and sorry if I'm repeating that, Mercury retrograde. But divine timing to me is not like God has a calendar. God isn't like, on June 10th, Laura Chung, it doesn't work like that. There's no such thing as time. Time is a man-made concept to make our ego make sense of this reality. But divine timing really for me is when you've made that inner shift, when you've made that shift within you of wholeness, of fully realizing the truth of who you are, which is that you are a part of this creative life force energy and that you have all the power within you. And when you fully believe that in your being is when you are ready for all of the things that are meant for you, which is when the universe, divine timing, gives it to you in the outer realm, because the universe will never give you something that you're not ready for, because we don't want to self-sabotage ourselves. And I always say this to my friends, like, imagine meeting your twin flame, your soulmate, or the love of your life when you're not ready. Fuck that shit. The right person and the wrong time is the wrong person, because I learned that the hard way. You start self-sabotaging yourself, you start going through all of your shadows and the projection of what you didn't receive as a child, and it's like all a fucking bloody mess. So I really believe divine timing is always when you are in union with yourself, and when you have worked on all of your shadows and all of your inner child work, and when you've, and again, we're not we're never completely healed, and we're never at a place where we need to be perfect to experience life's joys. It's an ongoing journey, but that's why I believe in divine timing and co-creating with the universe, because the universe protects us so much that it knows when we are ready for something. And I really love this cleanup message because again, with the 19 number, I think as a collective, we've just had to do a lot of releasing and a lot of healing and a lot of cleaning up of what we've thought was real and what was not real, and cleaning up of all of these old ways of thinking, all of these dogmatic beliefs, these limiting beliefs. And I really believe everything boils down to fear versus love, scarcity and lack versus abundance. And I've been speaking about this so much because I'm going through my own journey of shifting to an abundance mindset, of truly being whole with the universe. And I really have to continually, on a moment to moment basis, clean that up, because I've made a huge pact with myself and the universe that I was going to shift out of that mindset of lack and scarcity. But my outer realm, everything doesn't work that way. The capitalistic patriarchal society that we live in keeps reminding me of lack, keeps reminding me of you don't have enough. I'm constantly being marketed at. So it takes a lot of commitment and a lot of inner knowing and listening to your intuition. But it's so beautiful when you get to that place where the triggers that used to trigger you in the past don't have the same energetic charge as it used to. So I really, really send you, I meant to say, I really, really hope that, I really hope that this resonated with you and that this helped you. And I really, 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 really love all of you. And for those of you who are watching on the YouTube, I just realized I never changed out of my pajamas. Oh my, I just looked at the screen. I was like, oh, that's my pajama shirt. Oh, well, what are you going to do? I'm just showing up as my real authentic self. But anyways, I am so excited for this week. It's going to be a little, I think, surprising. If there was a word to describe this week, it's surprising. We have the Saturn Uranus square on June 14th. We have just a lot of very faded events happening. So please let me know what happens in your life, if any of this resonated with you. And I send you nothing but love and abundance.